just coming off of a back-to-back like that, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you all were able to see on tape. Just curious what today was like as you all got back together and kind of reviewed the good and what to improve on moving forward.
Yeah, we worked on defensively, just trying to clean up our ball screen defense. Um, and then offensively, they switched a lot in our last game. So, me personally, and just, in general in the offense, working on getting on back pocket screens and forcing them to make more decisions and kind of putting the defense on their heels when they switch, because sometimes they can boggle you down.
You had mentioned, sort of not falling in love with the pick and pop, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw you, last game, really setting up in the post. You didn't always get the ball there, but does the threat of that does that even just um, like for the defense like create some distraction or create a moment of panic or second guessing or whatever when you're posting up hard and when you're trying to clear space there?
Yeah, I think it can keep the defense honest. I think there are some good post players on this team that, you know, like I think with the analytics these days, and we don't work a ton on post ups anymore, but I think there are times when it can make sense. So I think mixing that in, when you guard a team that can mix it in and score from the post, it can be tough because you're pretty much on an island one on one. So I think it keeps the defense honest.
What have you noticed about the rookies? Just obviously not even on the floor, but just being integrated with this team over preseason. Just what have you thought of how they've been able to grow throughout so far?
I've been really impressed. Josh has been playing great in the preseason. Wiggs has really impressed me defensively. Trey had a great day in practice today. J. Rob just really solid and mature for his age as a rookie. So they've been playing really well, and it's awesome to see this early in the season.
Also, wanted to ask your perspective, just as a big, seeing Teo now in his second season, and obviously he put on some muscle. Just what are you noticing from him in his second season so far?
Yeah, he seems. The coach called him feisty today in practice, and I think he seems more comfortable out there, and just aggressive. So when you got a playmaker and ball handler like that who's just always solid, looking to be aggressive and attack the rim and playing feisty out there, it's good for the team.
Mike, Shea and Josh are both guys who obviously can do good things with the ball in their hands. When they're playing together and starting together, how do you see that partnership working between them?
I think it's a great lineup. I think when you mix like in lineups and you have multiple ball handling playmakers like that can create their own and that can really get into good aggressive like ball screen two-man game. I think it's really hard to guard teams like that. I mean, you see some of the really elite teams in the NBA who have that set up, and I think it's maybe a little less traditional. Usually, it's kind of like we got a point guard and some wings and then bigs and whatnot. But I think it's a smart lineup, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds this season.
Mark just told us that I think it was last game he set up a set for Shea to be the primary guy, just to get him going a little bit, but Shea deferred to Josh and put him in that position. How have you seen Shea sort of like kind of share that responsibility with Josh in the backcourt?
Yeah, I think they've done well with it so far, and I'm sure from Shea's standpoint, it's a breath of fresh air in a way because he can have a little more energy throughout the game. I can imagine for him, he's obviously in great shape, but it can be a lot when you're the primary playmaker like that, and the ball is constantly in your hands, and you're constantly making plays like that. So I think you know, like I said, when you have those multiple playmaker ball handlers, and we got several on the team, besides those two guys as well. I think it's a smart idea.
And then last for me, you might have even said this in the past, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but like so many guys have said that Jeremiah just looks like a guy who played at Villanova as far as fundamentals, toughness, stuff like that. Like, do you sort of see that in him, or like when you talk about him being like mature for his age, like what about his game makes you say something like that?
Yeah, I feel like he's just present in the game, and he's not trying to really force anything. Like I looked in the box score from the last game, and he was 1 for 5, but he was like he played a great game. So I thought because he just was like just because you miss shots doesn't mean you didn't play a good game. You know, sometimes you'll like have a good looking box score, but it's like you didn't really play good, and people are texting you great game. It's like he's like that's what I mean by that is like he's doing the right things and he's just taking it all in stride. And I think that can be hard. At least for me, it was as a young player to just like embrace that and just like and commit to that because eventually the results will come. So that's what I mean.
Like throughout preseason, I couldn't help but just think like I wonder what the group would look like with Kenrich on the floor too. I know he practiced I think for the first time today. Just what are you anticipating in terms of like how he'll be able to? He seems like a guy that can kind of mesh with anybody out there on the floor, but how he'll mix into what you guys have put on film already.
Yeah, no, it was great to have him back in practice today, and he worked really hard over the summer. So I know he was kind of frustrated by his injury and the timing of it, but I'm happy that he's back. I'm sure he's happy, and like he said, he's a versatile player. He's improved a lot since he's been here, I think, and just his confidence and his aggressiveness, especially defensively, just his mindset for the team is so good. So, obviously, really happy to have him back now as we get into the regular season.
Thank you, Muskie.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Appreciate that.